Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is just about a week away, and with so many new trainers getting into the franchise over the last few years, I wanted to give you guys a video that may aid you in your journeys. Today, I'm bringing you the top 10 Pokemon you shouldn't use in BDSP. Today's list hopefully will be a way to help players who aren't familiar with the Ceno Pokemon or any changes that may have taken place over the last few generations. Really, I'll just be looking at Pokemon that aren't particularly helpful from an in-game perspective, difficult to get, and so on. Also do note that I'm doing this list based off the Platinum Pokedex, since we do know we're getting that at the very least. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like on it, as it really helps out the channel, and subscribe for more content like this. Our number 10 option was originally a powerhouse, but now is really not worth utilizing. The first Pokemon you shouldn't use is none other than Spiritomb. Spiritomb in the original Generation 4 games was known for having 0 weaknesses, making it an obscene Pokemon to actually take out. With the Ghost and Dark typing, if the person taking it on didn't carry Foresight, Spiritomb had no actual way to be hit super effectively. However, with the addition of the Fairy typing, you can now actually hit Spiritomb for super effective damage. This definitely takes away one of the coolest aspects of adding Spiritomb to your team, which already hurts its usability on your team. I'm sure some of you who are new to Ceno already are screaming at me, but Mystic, it's just one weakness. Why is Spiritomb suddenly that unusable now? Well, that comes from how you encounter Spiritomb in Ceno. In the original games, you needed to visit other players in Ceno's underground at least 32 times. Finding that many players to interact with just for one Pokemon is a lot of work, and it only becomes less worth it when you realize Spiritomb has a pretty lackluster level up move pool, and will mostly rely on TMs to be useful. With TMs back to being single use, I can't see much that's really helping Spiritomb's case in these games, which puts it at number 10 on our list today. Number 9 on our list is a Pokemon that was a fun Pokemon to use in the originals. However, the gimmick surrounding its usage is sadly lost. Chatot comes at number 9, which already feels like a huge jump in quality from Spiritomb. Chatot, unlike Spiritomb, was never really a good Pokemon, basically establishing the role as a much worse but specially offensive Staraptor. When you can get Starly on the first route, and it's already a much better Pokemon, there really is no use to Chatot other than its single gimmick surrounding the move Chatter. If you're unfamiliar with what this gimmick is, Chatter is a unique move to Chatot. With Chatter, you can use this as a special flying attack with no drawbacks that guarantee confuses the opponent. But this wasn't always how Chatter functioned. Back in the original Generation 4 games, thanks to the microphone function, you could actually record a sound for Chatter to emulate. This was a cool gimmick that allowed you to actually make your Chatot act like an actual parrot and emulate your voice. The volume of the audio you recorded for it also determined the confusion percentage, meaning you could affect how likely Chatot was to confuse the opponent just by being really loud. While the original Chatter was weaker and had less of a chance to confuse the opponent, the voice recording gimmick was honestly the best part of using Chatot. And with that now being gone, there really just seems to be no real reason to use it. And that puts it at number 9 on today's list. Whenever you hear anyone talking bad about the Ceno region, one of the key things you hear come up in conversation is fire types. There were basically 2 fire types that ever came up in any conversation, being Infernape and the number 8 option on today's list being Rapidash. Rapidash had the majority of its usage come from the fact that if you weren't using Infernape, this was the only fire type you could most likely obtain in Diamond and Pearl. This thankfully changed in Platinum, however you still didn't have many options. In Platinum, you basically had Flareon, Infernape, Rapidash, Houndoom, or Magmortar, with Magmortar being a trade evolution. Not the greatest pull to pick from. Thanks to the Underground this time around, however, we may finally have other truly viable options. While it's uncertain when we can obtain Pokemon in these hidden dens, these games may provide an earlier location to end up obtaining Houndoom in. We've already seen that Houndoom is catchable in the Grand Underground, which gives me hope there will finally be an easier way to obtain this than basically having to go through the entire first half of your journey without a fire type. Considering that even in Platinum, the only fire types available to use against Gardenia were Ponyta or Monferno. The possibility of getting a Houndour or Houndoom right before the gym battle thanks to the Explorer kit makes Rapidash a far less appealing fire type to use this time around in the Ceno region. Number 7 on our list is 2 Pokemon in one, but you really can't just talk about one or the other in my opinion. The Ceno fossils, Rampardos and Bastiodon, take number 7 on our list. These fossils basically are the embodiment of our previous entries in my opinion. Similar to Pokemon such as Rapidash and Chatot, these fossils are relatively unimpressive Pokemon. Bastiodon does basically 0 damage to opponents, meanwhile Rampardos is a fairly frail Pokemon without much speed either. Neither Pokemon really do much in game, and to top it off, these games are horrible for rock types. Breaking down some of the bosses you'll fight by the time you can revive your fossils, you'll still have to fight Gardenia, Maylene, Crasher Wake, Byron, Bertha, and Cynthia as far as leaders in E4 go. If this wasn't enough, regardless of the starter your rival uses, your rival can easily take out the fossils as well with half their teams. If you somehow weren't convinced not to use the Ceno fossils, if you still have to find them in the underground, they're really annoying Pokemon to even find. Similarly to Spiritomb, they're too much of a hassle to be worth using due to this, which is why they find themselves all the way down at number 7 on our list. Reaching the midway point, number 6 on our list is none other than Abomasnow. Abomasnow has a lot going for it, to be honest, with a really cool design and an honestly pretty good move pool. However, there's a lot more sadly going out of its favor than in. For starters, you'll find a lot of strong grass types in Ceno, all of which are found significantly earlier on your journey. You can't even find Snover to begin with until you have 6 badges, as you need to unlock Strength before getting to Route 216. This means, besides Cynthia and Bertha, you really miss out on most of your useful battles for a grass and ice type to begin with. If its late encounter wasn't enough, Abomasnow's typing really holds it back, being 4 times weak to fire as well as having 6 other weaknesses. Abomasnow sadly also doesn't even outpace a lot of Pokemon, residing at a mere base 60 speed. It's very hard to use its offensive potential well when you have such a low speed stat holding you back. If this was a coolest Pokemon list, Abomasnow may have wound up making it, because it doesn't get much cooler than having a really well-designed ice type on your team. However, I can't see a world where Abomasnow was ever a Pokemon you should use in the Ceno remakes. Starting off our top 5 is definitely the worst Pokemon we've covered yet, being none other than Carnivane. You know how I just said Ceno had a lot of really good grass types you can find before Abomasnow? Well, Carnivane is far from one of those. Carnivane, while found earlier, is a very difficult Pokemon to catch since you have to find it in the Great Marsh. On top of this, Carnivane has a terrible moveset through level up, and really doesn't even need its ability Levitate in any scenario. There isn't really a lot to say about Carnivane that was said about other Pokemon beforehand on this list. It's such a shame, as Carnivane would have certainly been a worthwhile Pokemon to use if Ceno just added a Mega Carnivine like the one I came up with. Because they didn't buff Carnivine in a similar manner, however, Carnivine resides at number 5 on today's list. Our 4th Pokemon on this list continues the trend of terrible grass types in Ceno, and this comes in the form of Cherum. Now look, it might be a little hypocritical for me to say you shouldn't use it while I just did a video saying that I intended to, but this is very much a do as I say and not as I do type of situation. I can handle the fact that this Pokemon isn't too good, but you shouldn't have to put yourselves through that. Cherum does have a couple uses, but none of these really matter if you're playing the in-game. Cherum has really only one actual use ever, and that comes in the form of double battles. If you're unfamiliar with how Cherum's ability works, it basically provides a 1.5 times boost to your attack as well as your special defense to all Pokemon on your side of the field. While Cherum doesn't really have great stats to take advantage of this, it'd be actually useful with the teammate. However, when you're playing in-game, maybe at best 2 or 3% of all battles will even be doubles to begin with. As mentioned earlier though, Cherum really has lackluster stats overall. When your best stat is 87, that really says a lot already, considering this is a fully evolved Pokemon. Cherum also has a really lackluster move pool, and being a pure grass, it's just generally outclassed. We have a plethora of stronger grass types such as Roserade, Torterra, Leafeon, and even the previously mentioned Carnivane and Abomasnow. Cherum really is one of the worst fully evolved grass types you can even use in these games. However, you should stay tuned, because we technically have one Pokemon that is an even worse grass type than Cherum coming soon on our list. Our next entry, similarly to the fossils, it wouldn't be really fair to cover separately because they'd fall directly next to each other in the rankings. Third on our list would be the Burme evolutions, Mothim and Wormadam. Covering two bugs with one entry, I have to obviously make an apology to the bug catcher himself, Adrive, as I'm not only going after multiple bug types here, but I'm also going after one of his personal favorites. However, these Pokemon are terrible. Thankfully, Mothim is now slightly stronger thanks to Tinted Lens. However, for a Pokemon as weak as Mothim is, it has also extremely low defensive and speed stats. Mothim has no real way to actually take a hit in order to set up quiver dances and pose any real threat to a team, even if we're going over in-game opponents. Not only this, but the bug flying typing really doesn't help besides against Gardenia and Aaron, since even Maylene has ways to destroy Mothim. As for Wormadam, you at least get a bit of an edge here thanks to the typing. Wormadam has three forms, being its plant, sandy, and trash forms, with these forms all starting as bug types, followed by grass, ground, and steel respectively. Wormadam actually has slightly better bulk to set up and actually deal damage. However, with an abysmal base 36 speed, you'll never be fast enough to matter. If Wormadam had Mothim's base 66 speed, maybe we'd have a Pokemon that could at least have avoided being third on today's list. But this just goes purely off the stats and move pool alone. We haven't even begun to cover how you have to slather honey on a honey tree to catch a Burme. Not only is this method of encountering Burme only 15%, but you'll also need to wait hours before you can even find a Burme here. Now, there is the possibility they've made this better in the remakes, but this still is ultimately an obnoxious Pokemon to find and is really bad as well, with the only edge it has over our second and first place Pokemon being in how it has a good amount of forms to at least maybe fill holes in your team. Overall, don't use this Pokemon. It's pretty terrible. Getting into today's runner-up, we have none other than Cricketoon. Cricketoon is just a terrible Pokemon, and somehow it finds a way to stand out even among Pokemon like Wormadam and Mothim. Similarly to Cherum, Cricketoon finds itself having a best stat of 85, but this time it's in its physical attack instead of special. However, unlike Cherum, Cricketoon has practically no bulk at all in any stat. On top of this, Cricketoon is also dreadfully slow. This Pokemon isn't really able to do much for you, and on top of that, it has terrible matchups against most bosses due to being a pure bug type. Your only strong matchup in the game will be against Gardenia and Lucian, but even Lucian has several ways, such as his Medicham and Bronzong, in order to defeat Cricketoon. Overall, Cricketoon may be easy to find early on, unlike most of this list. However, that doesn't mean it's worth the effort. Sure, you'll find it with basically no effort, but it somehow finds a way to not even be worth 0 effort, landing it at number 2 on today's list. If you've been paying attention, you probably can figure out the only Pokemon that can somehow be worse than this. It'd have to somehow match up worse against this game than even Cricketoon and Mothim, and have a worse moveset than Pokemon such as Wormadam and Carnivine. So, how can we one-up that? By using Unknown, our number 1 contender on today's list. For anyone unfamiliar with this Pokemon, it'll only take you 5 seconds to know everything about it. Unknown is a psychic type of Levitate, 48 in every stat besides its 72 attack and special attack, and only knows one move, being Hidden Power. That's why it's also the weakest of the worst Pokemon. So that's our list of the top 10 Pokemon you shouldn't use in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I had a lot of fun making this list and getting to discuss a lot of the Pokemon nobody does, even if that meant I was discussing them purely to mention why you shouldn't use them. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'd definitely like to know what you thought of my list. Maybe even give me your own top 10 in the comments below. With the Ceno remakes coming up, I'll be making a ton of more videos leading up to their release, and especially when they come out. So make sure you're subbed and have that notification bell hit so you don't miss out on these. Hey, welcome to my new outro. A big thank you to everyone for watching the video. I want to give a huge thanks to my phenomenal team, and for the amazing art done each week by Danny the Demon. I couldn't do all this without them. If y'all enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be sure to leave a comment too. It really helps us out. I have a brand new TikTok for MysticUmbreon, and I've got a goal to get 10k followers over there. If we can hit that goal, I'm going to pick a random video suggested to me by you guys and do it. So go over there and leave a follow. Also over on MysticSage, we've still got 2 videos going up every weekend. We've got content from My Hero, to Demon Slayer, to Dragon Ball. So come and check it out. And also check out MysticSage on TikTok. Finally, I've got an Amazon store where I sell tons of cool stuff. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm MysticUmbreon, and I'll see you next time with some more amazing Pokemon content.